some new lyrics. And it's time to figure out melody. As I mentioned before, I'm gonna go back to my formula. I gotta kind of stick with what's familiar for me. And it's gonna be really hard to write anything without a pencil. I kind of hit record before I was fully prepared, but so I gotta look for a pencil. Oh. Talk amongst yourselves. Let's see, pencil. All right. So, as I addressed in a previous video, it might be important to some of you to know how I write melody. I don't know. It just comes to me. I don't have... I've talked about how you could, if you own a guitar or if you have some kind of keyboard, or really if you want to download GarageBand, I think that's free. Is it free? I can't remember paying for it. I've had it for years. Anyway, one of the little toys on there is a digital keyboard you can get to pull up on your touch screen. Now you've got a piano, right? So if you've got a smartphone, you can get GarageBand and you'll have a piano. And you just play one note. Dun, 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 dun. That'll give you someplace to start, a key to be in, and kind of come up with your own melodies, right? Or if you don't want to just play that one note as kind of a bass note, then just start dinking around on the piano and touch the notes, play the notes in different order and for different durations and different rhythms and whatnot, and kind of come up with a melody like that. Or I don't know, you gotta just be open to all sorts of different ways of doing it. What if you just kind of started whistling? That's a melody, right? Has nothing to do with anything, but what if you start it? What if you in particular decide you want to start with melody? What are some words that could go with that? Come up with something. Come up with just a phrase of words that you like that goes well with that little phrase of melody that I just whistled, right? Or that you will just whistle. We're talking about what you're going to do. Or just hum. Just start to sing and make up a goofy melody. And keep doing it until you come up with something that you kind of like. Right? Or if you can play an instrument, then just start noodling around on your instrument. Start just coming up with some sounds that you think are cool on the piano or on the guitar, whatever your instrument is. Start playing. Make something up. When we're talking about writing music, it sounds kind of highfalutin, but it's really just making something up. Time for the morning WWF kitty wrestling tournament. Looking for something to throw over there. But that's not how I do it, and I've kind of decided I want to stick with the way I do it. Just just because. I got to keep it simple and easy and fun for me, or I'm just going to lose interest and not do this. In my 53 years, I think I've mentioned this, but I've started writing dozens of songs. I haven't finished very many because it kind of just turns into work. This is the most amount of music I've written in just these past, I think it's about 5 or so weeks since I started making these videos. I've completed 4 songs. That's so much for me. It's got to be more than that. So 6, 7 weeks, whatever it is, but it's an extremely short amount of time. Because for whatever reason, in my case, it makes it a million times easier when I'm doing this in front of the camera, because it feels like a kind of performance. And I'm one of these attention whores who likes performing. I haven't done that much of it in my life, especially since high school and college ended, but alright, that's enough backstory, I guess. So, we're going to go ahead and continue to do it my way, which is make up some words. Don't get hung up on the idea of I'm composing music. Just relax about that. You're making something up. We can all make something up. That's what lying is. Somebody asks you a question, you don't really want to tell them the truth, you make something up. That's all this is. Prevarication, I think, is one word for that. I like to use $4 words. Makes me feel smart. All right. So make something up. I like to make up the words first. The words are very central and very important to me. Bad kitties on the counter. Oh well. Because I gotta think. I'm gonna go ahead and still give you some more background. I don't know when I wrote my first poem, but I wrote my first several songs for girls. I got this job. This is when I was a senior in high school. I don't think I wrote any songs before that. So I'm a senior in high school. I had just changed. It doesn't matter. You don't need to know the entire story. So I'm working at this donut / sandwich and hamburger and pizza joint. It was, maybe they couldn't decide what they wanted to be, but we made donuts. I made all these things: donuts, sandwiches, hamburgers, and pizzas. And there was just this beautiful girl that worked there. And I was never, a guy that was whatever, smooth with the ladies. But I was just, wow. I was in love with her, so I wrote this song. Can't really remember much about it or how it goes. But that was the first time, so 30 some odd years ago. I did finish that, and I remember I took the words to work. Kind of showed her, and she was very dismissive. So a little time passed, and I got an actual girl who was interested in me. One of my mom's piano students. So I wrote a song for her. That's probably the second song I ever finished. So this is still just a couple months later, around the end of my high school career, or maybe after, I don't know. This second girl who was eventually became my girlfriend was a year younger than I was. Took her to her prom when she was a senior. I mean, we were at the same high school, but I had graduated. And I wrote a song for her, and I think I made dinner for her at my house and brought her into the piano room where my mom gave piano lessons back in the day. I sat down at the piano and played her the song, and I don't know, she didn't even seem all that impressed. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm looking for, as an attention whore, looking for way too much attention for what I create. She didn't seem that impressed. Not sure why I'm sharing that, but whatever. She became my girlfriend. I guess that was good. Okay. I can't remember why I started this story. That's weird. I was just going to say that I then left a year or two later to serve a mission for my church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I was called to serve in Brazil. And I'd made friends with this other girl. I mean, I say I wasn't smooth with the ladies, but there were girls that were friends and there were girls that were girlfriends, but whatever. This girl wrote me the entire 2 years I was down there in Brazil. And kind of, in addition to, oh, here's what's going on in my life, or here's what's going on down here in Brazil on my mission, we would always kind of end our letters to each other with a poem. So that kind of, in addition to those 2 or 3 songs that I wrote, I think it was just the 2 songs. Yeah. I wrote a song about preparing for and leaving on a mission. So that's 3 songs that I wrote before Brazil. Anyway, so really, kind of, I think that was the only 3 poems that went into those 3 songs that I'd ever written. But this girl, she liked to write poems too, so we wrote them back and forth. Kind of wish I still had all those poems. I don't know if she does or not. We're friends on Facebook. I guess I could ask her. Anyway, at some point after that, I started periodically writing poems, and it always just comes very easily to me. The way you see me do it here, it just, I don't know, it's just one of the easiest things, and melody comes just as easily, which is not to say that I can't think of a really good poem, not to say that I'm Robert Frost. It's not to say that I don't know, who writes extremely good melodies? I don't know. I'm not saying I'm the best thing on earth. I'm just saying this is a thing. Both of these things come very easily to me. But for a long time, I just would write poems. I have a whole bunch of poems in my drafts box in my email. And 1 or 2 I've put to music, but when I put things to music, it's so much work. I keep referring to the song that's there on my channel called No More Love Songs. There's no video to it, but there's audio. You can listen to that song. That was like 12 or 15 tracks. Multi-track recording on GarageBand. And it's a lot of work to come up with all that stuff. So as I fill this page with melody, just think of having to fill, or sometimes I can remember stuff, but anyway, figuring out what the guitars are going to do and what the keyboard's going to do. What's the bass line? I mean, the drums are just a click track. You know, you just hit record and the drums are, anyway, it's not worth explaining, but the drum track is just a drum track. There's so much work that goes into that. It's probably 30, 40 hours or more. It's kind of arduous, so that's why I don't do that. Anyway, whatever. So that's kind of the background. I've written a lot more poems than I've actually written songs, because I've never put very many of my poems to music. But we're going to put this one to music. Is that enough just jabbering? Okay, so in short, I don't really know what's going to be a good way for you to come up with melody But my way is I just kind of look at this first line. We're going to start with, what did I decide? I made myself some notes at some point. Oh, I decided these two things that I'm calling verses. It's just going to be kind of a long chorus. And then these strange lines that don't, the number of syllables in each line doesn't really match the rest. So that's going to be the two verses. While I wasn't recording, I just had some ideas, so I sat down and wrote some stuff. Anyway, so this is going to be just our long chorus. That's what we're going to start writing melody for. So I'm just staring over there at that first line, and kind of a melody with its own rhythm sort of pops into my head, and that's what I write down. That's how I write the melody that's going to be sung. The sung melody. Yeah, that's wrong. So something popped into my head. Boy, what a POS eraser. Doing more harm than good. No wonder it's so low. Okay, so our first line is like everyone. That's really low, isn't it? Your life is hard. So again, 4/4 time. One of these times I gotta write something in 3/4 time. Write a waltz. I think that's a really cool time signature. But most pop and rock music is 4/4 time, and God, I can't believe how smudgy this eraser is. I can't seem to really clean it. It's a little bit better. Worthless as an eraser if it's just going to smudge. So this is the end of a measure right here. So I think it's mostly an advantage. That I know music theory and music notation, but you really don't have to. That what I just came up with. So the beat goes like this: 1, 2, 3. Like everyone, your life is hard. Right? So just maybe your memory is a million times better than mine. Just memorize that. Or record it. You probably got a smartphone. Make your own video if you don't have another way to just record audio, an app or whatever. And just record it real quick so that you remember it. But I like to write it down. It's just what I do. Because since I can read music, it becomes very easy for me to come back with my guitar. Again, we'll transition to the piano at some point, and just strum a very simple rhythm on these chords and just read it right off of the page. But if you don't know how to do any of that, it doesn't mean, oh no, I can't write music. No, just Eddie Van Halen knows how to read this kind of music, but I don't think he ever knew how to read guitar notation music. He just came up with stuff. He didn't know how to read, and neither do I. I don't know how to read guitar music. I think it's the same notes, but I don't know. I'm not familiar with the fretboard enough to be like, oh yeah, I can play this little scale, this little arpeggio just fine reading. No, I can't do that. Eddie Van Halen just kind of came up with stuff, and it's awesome stuff. He noodled around on his guitar, came up with all that awesome stuff, if you like Van Halen at all. And he couldn't read guitar notation. I believe that's true. If I'm misspeaking, I'm sorry. He can read what I'm writing down here if he sat down at the piano, because he started like me as a piano student. So I write in the rests and everything. A rest is when there's not going to be a sung melody right during that exact part. I'll just write in that rest right there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so this is I'm writing down. Oh, this smudged area is just driving me nuts, but I think I'll be able to read that. So see, I've written it down exactly as I kind of whistled it and then sang it. Like everyone. Do you want to hear the beat? 1, 2, 3. Like everyone, your life is hard. Scooped at that last note, but the scoop is optional. I've written down what I need to know it. So, I like this idea of having a repeated melody because it really simplifies it. We could theoretically write a little different melody for all of these 16 lines that we've got in our chorus, and I think that'd be cool too, but in the name of simplicity, we're gonna I think we'll write a new melody for the second line, and then come to the third line. The third line, it just says instead of hate, use gratitude. See, it's one of those lines that it's 2 lines, but it's really just a really long line. So that'll be kind of weird when we get there, but like everyone will be instead of hate. So already it fits really well, at least that first little phrase of our line. But let's worry about that in a minute. Like everyone, your life is hard. But you can choose. Whatever. So same rhythm. You can So that's our second line. But I guess we'll write in the words. But you can choose. We're going to repeat that. You can choose to smile. Wait. I don't think that's quite right. That's right. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's not quite right. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. No, that's right. Just. Alright, just bear with me as I write all this down. Just gotta get this right, or else I won't know what I'm doing when I come back tomorrow. Because it's just so much goes on in my day. Call it ADD or whatever you want. It just goes away unless I write it down. Can you just you can't you 1 and 2 and 3 and so that just ends the measure. That's how it goes. So you, but let's see. But you can, so the beat. 1, 2, 3. But you can choose. You, okay, let's do it again. 2, 3. But you can choose. You can choose to smile. That's how our melody goes. At least for this first I don't know. Decisions to be made. I don't want to think too much about it. It's hard to read the time off of that. Oh, I've got quite a bit of time. We'll just soldier on. Instead of, so we can kind of just copy what's above here to do this instead of hate, can't we? Isn't that convenient? Okay, wait. We didn't really do that right. But we can do it up here. See, there's going to be a little break between these lines. That's good. So not much of a break. Instead of hate, oh, it's a little different, isn't it? That's all right. I was thinking each line starts with the same rhythm, but it really doesn't. Instead of hate, but you. No, it's different. I'm not going to confuse myself. Instead of hate. Imagine me writing such a positive song. Instead of hate, use gratitude. That seems to fit. Well, what about this? Since we're repeating up there, use gratitude to steep your heart a while. I just like that word steep. I think it's a kind of cooking. But I'm using it in the context of soaking or marinating. You can marinate yourself or your heart in hatred if you want, and there's a strange attraction to that. Strange kind of pleasure in that. But really, for real happiness and joy, you should try to, like I wrote here, you should try to steep your heart in gratitude. Because that's going to be a lot better. Gratitude and love and forgiveness and all those things are a lot better than just hate and anger. On the dark side, are they? All right. Okay, how's this go? Instead of hate, use gratitude. So, fortunately, we get to copy again, and that's awesome. Use that was ill-written. Oh, that's a tie. I get it. Done. Excuse me. Get a little phlegmy. Continue to copy what's above. Steep your heart. But instead of repeating steep just on the fly, since we're repeating up here, but you can choose to smile. We're going to say, to steep your heart, keep your heart a while. I think that's kind of clever. Gratitude, you're going to keep your heart, preserve the love in your heart better than with hate. It's deep, huh? Whoa. Okay. Oh, we didn't write any chords up here. I like that. Okay, so these are the chords that came to me that I think go with this melody. For me, in my head, it's all implied what the kind of the bass note, and therefore the chord is going to be. So we're at our 3 chords now. That's actually a 1/6. A first inversion 1 chord. Guess I'll show you that on the guitar. That'll be so exciting. I think this is right. Doesn't sound right. Oh. here. Wrong meaning just, this isn't what I kind of hummed in my head. It's only those notes are wrong. Silly eraser. Okay. Good thing I kind of went back and decided to write in the chords because the melody was still kind of fresh in my mind. And I discovered that what I'd written down was not what popped into my head. And I think it's important, at least to me, to stay true to what popped into my head. That's it. To steep your heart, keep your heart. What? I guess I can write in the chords. It'll be fun. I hardly leave myself room to write in. The chords, I can't decide whether to keep going. I gotta go to work at some point. Alright, that's probably good for a minute. So, it's nice to keep things simple and only have those 3 chords, 1, 4, and 5, but we're going to have a 6 chord thrown in there, and we'll have a first inversion 1 chord. So it's going to be best to do this in the key of G. makes the E chord the 6th chord, so that'll be nice and easy. I'm just saying, on the guitar, it just makes it easy for me to play. I understand that certain keys are better for certain kinds of songs, but I don't know what those keys are, so I just put songs in keys that I like to play in. When I start making these videos over at the piano, I suppose that's when we'll worry about I can afford to worry a little bit more about singing the songs in the range that's best for me. What have I got on my sweatshirt? Because if you'll notice, on that last song that we just did, there's a part that I really should have been singing an octave above, but I don't know, I just didn't want to sing that high. Didn't feel like it. So if I were on the piano, it'd be pretty, since I play the piano better than I play the guitar. Again, I'm not Liberace or Billy Joel, but Elton John. Who else plays the piano? Alicia Keys. What's her name that I mentioned? Whose name is escaping me right now? Sarah Bareilles. I don't play as well as those guys do, but I play it better than I play the guitar. The guitar's it's like a first language and a second language, right? I speak English the best. Speak Portuguese pretty well, but not as well as I speak English. By the same token, play the piano. That's my best instrument. Play the guitar fairly well, but not like the piano. It's like first instrument, second instrument, first language, second language. All right. So I don't know. I like our melody. It's going to sound different to you once I play it on the guitar. Because what are our other lines? Yeah, this melody. I think it's interesting to be saying something positive in the lyrics, but the chord under it is a minor chord. It kind of seems like it acknowledges the idea that positivity can be pretty tenuous. You know, that joy, that happiness, that pleasure can be kind of fleeting. Wow. It's pretty riveting, huh, Kitty? Kitties are very interested in writing music. So I like that a lot. I told you my favorite song is Walking on Broken Glass by Annie Lennox. That key's in a major key. If you were to somehow, like if you didn't speak English, let's say, listen to that song, you would think it's just a fun, positive, happy kind of song. But if you pay attention to the lyrics, she's talking about a loved one, the relationship with that loved one was lost. It ended. So it hurts so much that she feels like she's walking on broken glass. But the music is just so fun. There's a riff that's played by strings that just repeats over and over again, and that's, I guess you'd call that a melodic hook. It's so awesome. I don't know how she wrote that. Pretty sure she's the only writer on it, but it's so fun and so positive. Probably not allowed to play it for you, but I at least want to look it up. See if she wrote it all by herself. Be really interesting. Someday maybe I'll meet her and, how did you come up with that? Nope, just Annie Lennox. She wrote it all by herself. So here's my theory. She came up with that riff. Dun 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 dun. See how that's so syncopated? It's a duet. So that's the bass note. Dun 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 dun. It's just fun. But the song's about she had this awesome friendship, love, whatever it was, I think with her guitar player at the time in the band. I think they're back together now. I don't know if romantically, that's not really my business, but I think the Eurythmics are a band again. But maybe they're not. Who knows? It doesn't matter. They had this thing, awesome relationship, probably writing songs together, and then probably romantic as well, and something happened. And Annie Lennox went and did a solo album, and this is one of the songs on the solo album that she just talks about. Oh man, it was so nice being together, but now that I lost you and I can't seem to get you back, it feels just like I'm walking on broken glass. So anyway, we're doing the reverse here. We're saying things about smiling and having a grateful heart, and next time I use this melody, it'll be kind and build ties that bind. When we're singing those words about smiling and grateful hearts and being kind and creating ties that bind, when we say those words, it's going to be a minor chord. I just think that's a fun, cool thing. That's just kind of what came to me as I was writing this melody. And so I think that's kind of cool, and I felt the need to explain it to you. But that's enough for today. Come back tomorrow, write another 4 lines of melody. Because we've got basically 4 groups of 4. So I'm thinking we've got the melody for the first group of 4, do a new melody for the second group of 4, and then just repeat the melody for this group of 4, for the third group of 4, and for the second group of 4, the new melody that I'll write next time we'll use on the fourth group of 4 lines. See what I'm saying? So that'll be cool. So it's still repetitive, but I don't know. I have a little bit of a compulsion to not be too repetitive. So since we'll have 4 lines of new melody before we go and repeat again, that's going to make me feel like I'm not repeating too much. Again, there's no such thing as too much of anything. Writing music, go listen to some punk rock from the 70s and 80s, whenever punk rock started, and it proves that you can make music out of almost anything. And there are no rules, so these are just my rules that I impose on myself, so make your own rules. Alright, I think that's enough for now. Got 4 lines of melody that are unique. Well, they're not, are they? Because we repeated them. We got 2 lines of melody that are unique, and then we repeat the same 2 lines of melody just with new words, but that's just how we're going to roll. And we're kind of on our way, so this will be good. So until the next time.